Dear students, in this video we are going to discuss about the communication in organizational behavior. Myself Dr. Sjctnc-Dr, Assistant Professor, PG, Department of Computer Applications, St.Joseph College of Arts and Science, Cuddalore. What is communication? Communication is derived from the Latin word communis, which means common. According to Edson, communication in its simplest form is conveying of information from one person to another. That is, by conveying a message from one person to another is called the communication. Then we will see what is the nature of communication. Communication involves two parties, one who transmits and another who receives the message. There should be two parties should be there, one who transmits the message, another who receives the message. It is called communication. Second, the two respective parties must have ability to convey and listen what the sender has to communicate. Then communication includes sending the message as well as receiving the response from the sender. The message may be conveyed verbally or by the written format or means of sign or gesture or symbols. You can convey in any form. You can convey it by verbally, or we can convey using a written format or the means of sign, or we can do some gesture or make a symbol to convey a message. Then communication is a continuous process in organizational. The messages can be delivered from the higher authorities. Then the subordinates should listen and cooperate the operations what all they happen in the organization. Now we will see the channels of communications. The channel is the medium or path through which the message travels. The channel of communication can be divided into three bases. First one, based on relationship, then based on the direction of flow, then based on the method that we used. We'll see one by one. Here it is a chart will describing about the three things based on relationship. In relationship, we can classify into two forms. One is formal, another one is informal. And based on direction of flow, there are four different directions we are seeing here. First one is the horizontal direction, then upward direction, then downward direction, and finally there is the diagonal direction. Then based on method, we can see three different methods we can use. First one is verbal method. Second one is in the form of written. Third one is the gesture. We'll see based on relationship. Formal communication. Channels established by the management is called formal communication. Transmission of formal messages alone can be done here. A formal message which travels different levels so that it may have the transfer delay. Through the formal message communication means the channel will be established by the management. There should be only the formal message can be forwarded using those channels. Then informal communication. Communication which takes place on the basis of social relation is called informal communication. It happens between people in different divisions and units. That is, your friends can have the communication channels, then by the means of the social relation. These things are called the informal communication. Now we'll see what is the direction of flow. First one is horizontal communication. This communication happens between pairs. Transmission of information happens at the same level. For example, in our organization, In different departments having the managers. There are different managers, there are different activities. The managers alone, they are transmitting message is called a peer team, the same level. This facilitates coordination among pair at the same level. This is more of informal nature. Horizontal communication happens between the pairs, that is, the same levels in the organization team members. Secondly, we can see the upward communication. When communication happens from low level to higher level is called upward communication. This communication helps people to participate in decision making and give valuable suggestions and ideas. That is, the layman who is working in the organization can give the suggestions and ideas to the higher level authorities. They can make use of these suggestions and ideas and can have a good decision making, so that these communication are very much useful. It will call the upward communication. That is, the message conveyed from the lower level to higher level is called the upward communication. Then I will see what is downward communication. When communication happens from higher level to lower level is called downward communication. This communication involves verbal messages, orders, policies, procedure, notices, circulars, handbooks, and bulletins, etc. But this message travels from higher level to lower levels. It may be a verbal message, or they may send some orders to follow, or the policies they can make, then procedures, notices, in the form of notices, then they can send circulars and handbooks, bulletins likewise. It is called the communication from higher level to lower level is called the downward communication. Absence of downward communication increases stress and anxiety among the employees. The messages can be traveled from top level to the bottom level. Then the diagonal communication, that is the fourth one. Communication happens at different levels between people of different departments is called diagonal communication. This happens during special circumstances. In this communication, the different levels of people will be gathered and the messages travels and communicated with the different levels of people in an organization. Then based on methods. Based on methods, we can see first one is the verbal communication. When the message is conveyed orally, it is called verbal communication. It gives a personal touch. Verbal communication is the most economical, both in terms of time as well as money. If we want to convey a message in a form of verbal means, we can just call the person and be informed, and they can make the immediate action, and the process will be happen immediately. For that we can consume the less time as well as the money. If we communicate by notices, circulars can take time to travel the message from higher level to lower level. Then we can see the small drawbacks what is having in this. When communicator and receiver is far away from the another means, the message will not reach, so that the receiver cannot listen and he cannot get the message what the sender sent. When the number of persons to be communicated is large means, the communication will not reach the audience perfectly. Then a written form of communication. Communication that takes place between people in written form is called written communication. Formal communication is usually in written form, such as orders, instructions, reports, and bulletins, etc. These are the common messages we usually send in a written form only by way of orders or instruction or reports. Communication in written form is permanent, tangible, and verifiable. But if we communicate orally, we can't verify the message what he sent, what the message is delivered by the messenger. It is useful when subject matter to be communicated and lengthy and in intense, to be communicated to the large number of people. The limitations of written communication are that it is time consuming and lacks personal touch and unfold the scarcely about the written message. Here we will see the method of visual format. When a message is transmitted through some gestures, it is called gestural communication. People use different gestures such as moving hands and eyes to communicate their views, ideas, etc. So that visual format is less consuming time and immediate. The response from the receiver can be happen in this way. That is, the message can be conveyed by the visual format, hands, waving the hands, or communicating in their case of eyes movement. Likewise, we can communicate their ideas and the views. Thank you.